almost a decade in these weightlifting shoes. Previous ones I had, I think 10 to 12 years in those as well. Like a cast iron pan, they get seasoned. Friendship, hard work, all of it built into these shoes. We're gonna front squat today. Open sets at the end. So you go 5-5, 3-3-1 open. I'm gonna look for about 8 reps here. Feeling pretty good, slept pretty nicely. Went out for a long, about 2.5 mile walk this morning along the beach. Feeling a little anxious that I don't have some things already in place. Not as far along as I thought I would be, but that's life. And getting a nice little reset here, calibrating, seeing everybody else, talking about what they're gonna be doing here in the future. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna train, because that is one consistent in my life. 2024, pretty solid. We're looking at our 4th location. We haven't opened it yet. We made some serious staff changes and reorganized how we've done things for a really long time, where we used to have 3 studio managers, 1 for each location. Now we've changed some operations and now we're going 1 regional manager for all locations. It should help us a lot on payroll. We're going through the growing pains right now and figuring out the system, so that's a little bit difficult, and that happened sort of towards the end of the year. Revenue is pretty decent. Profitability, we're right on the edge. Either 0, a little negative, or a little above each month. Now, we've been pretty focused on growing and not really leaning into and focusing totally on profitability, but in 2025, that's really what we're gonna focus in on. Especially at our South Bay location, which has been around a really long time. How do we keep increasing that revenue? How do we keep that membership base consistent? It's not like we're trying to grow this thing significantly in the South Bay. It's pretty maxed out, and now it's all about, all right, how do we generate as much profit from this thing as possible, which is running as lean as possible, while still be able to provide a really good experience for our members. On the personal side, I had my first kid, Lily Rose Romness. What a beautiful experience that's been. Becoming a father, but 2, also watching Michelle and how much has changed her and how much she's growing as a person, and loving that daughter, and how it's just our dynamic as a couple now, working together to raise Lily and do what's right for her, while still trying to build out our own businesses. I'm not totally established in my career yet. I'm not where I want to be, and as an ambitious professional and business owner and entrepreneur trying to build something while still having a family and still wanting to build that, it's almost like now I have a second business in a way. Obviously, it's my daughter. It's not totally the same metaphor, but from a time spend standpoint and a wanting to do a good job standpoint, it's a significant addition to the family, which means I'll do less of other things maybe that we sort of used to do. For example, Michelle and I used to do a lot more date nights, or we would cook a lot more together. So we won't have that same time spent in that place, because there's a finite amount of time that you can only direct in certain places. But now we'll focus on Lily, and we'll find joy and growth in that new area of focusing. So I just did my set of 3. Now I got 1 rep at 85 kilos. Then I got my open set, 70, 85. The biggest thing professionally that I'm focused on for 2025 is bringing our agency in-house. If I can figure out how to get 2 to 1 or greater return on our ad spend, that's going to be the greatest investment that Allegiant could possibly make. Because if we land and expand in a new market, and we repeatably and reliably have been able to do that, for every $1 in, we get $2 out. And I'm not even thinking about the LTV long term. If that person is a member for a really long time. Our Santa Monica founding members there's probably 25 of them out of the 100 that are still with us, and that was 3.5 years ago. The ROI and the return on ad spend from something like that, because they've been with us for so long, is significantly greater. But anyways, if I can figure out how to write script, make creative, the whole sales process, teach everybody else how to do those things, hire, train, put people in place to be able to do that, now we've got a blueprint where we can land and expand wherever we want to go. So it's all about, we find the right market, bam, we figure out what the real estate is, and then we just hit the go button on the ad campaign. And now I'm pretty much playing kind of general, where I'm calling the shots and I'm sending the troops in. I'm not the actual one out there on the battlefield killing different soldiers, or killing enemy soldiers, so to speak. Pretty intense metaphor, but I'm reading Alexander the Great right now by J.F.C. Fuller, and it's all about his generalship and what he did to make an empire. And the other thing is making Allegiant totally self-sufficient with the staff that we have. Providing the structure, providing the plan, providing the training for our manager to be able to be an absolute stud, do everything, run everything, feel competent in her gig, feel like she's got the support that she needs, and that everything that we set out to do when we were planning our 2025 calendar, that she's able to execute. She's got accountability, she's got support. So I feel like we've got a lot set up for her in terms of where we're supposed to drive this thing and what our expectations are. And we've got a system of accountability and a scoreboard to actually see if we're tracking on those. One of my bigger lessons for this year, this is not just for me, but now it's helping and collaborating with someone else so they know what to do and how to do it. This is about to be a tough set. I should be shooting for 8 reps right now with a 3-second tempo at 88 kilos. I think I got it, but it's gonna be a doozy. I can confirm that was a definite doozy, but we made it. We all gonna make it. All right, so I'm gonna record my reps here. 88, 85, 70, 60, 50, and 8 reps, just barely. Next on the B series, split stance bent over landmine row, split stance dumbbell RDL, L-sit kettlebell overhead press. I think another thing for me is on the content front. I really want to get good at content. I would really love to have this as an asset for myself and for Allegiate, where you can say something or come up with ideas and you can get people to pay attention, or people want to pay attention because it's of value. It's either entertaining or it's educational. But figuring out which platform to do, I consume a ton of YouTube and I really, really enjoy the storytelling aspects of it. I learn so much from YouTube. But then on Instagram, short form, it's really engaging as well. And I feel like from a business standpoint, being able to generate leads on Instagram is somewhere we've had a lot more success. And so I don't want to be like C's across the board on multiple platforms. I'd rather be like A in terms of effort and strategy on one platform, because it's so hard to compete out there. And plus we're running a business, you know what I mean? We're doing all this other stuff, but at the same time, there's other people that are doing it, running these businesses and having really flourishing online communities and content. So it's like, all right, I just need to step my game up. So I think where I'm gonna land is like scripting and spending a lot more time on short form content, just kind of the strategy, the angle, and how to tap into that wider audience and network. And then on long form YouTube stuff, just having a bit more of these off the cuff, sort of lifting with your bro in the weight room moments where we're just sitting here on the bench talking in between sets. It's a unique format where I could be pretty good at, and I'm just gonna feel good about creating it and getting it out there. That's the other thing. If you don't get stuff out there and you're a maker, you're a doer and you're a creator, and it just kind of sits and you wait for perfect, it becomes really difficult. And I think just even having a repository, a documentary of the process and where I was at with my thoughts, even if these are like sub 100 views, there's still gonna be value there for me. Definitely went too heavy on my RDLs. 70 kilos out the gate. Strong back, strong mind, baby. In the early days of Allegiate, we had a class called conditioning. Brutal. Sort of like that collegiate conditioning in the summertime with your whole teammates. We'd do 10 rounds, and after you get through 5 and people were just gassed, we'd call halftime. We'd shut off all the lights. It was just me and Tim working in those days, and we would play the speech from Any Given Sunday, and we would yell at people if they talked, and we just made everybody listen to that speech. It was so sick. Trials would be in, and people that had no idea who we were. Member would bring their friend, and they'd start talking, be like, hey, you can't, like, don't talk right now during this halftime speech. It either pulled you further in or pushed you away. And so as we've scaled, we've lost some of that. That's tough to scale, that kind of stuff. You can like force a rule, but to get buy-in and culture, you got to have like people that really care about that kind of stuff and making it fun for people and take it really seriously. You got to have them leading from the front.